24 hours. What? Okay, got it. Yeah, well, what was that? I'm not quite sure. I just got a pop-up message, but let's get into the sunshine, shall we? Who's ready for some boom, baby? Boom! That's some sunshine right there. It makes me smile. Look at that. Beautiful day. Fresh air. A little bit of warmth. At least it's not raining. At least there's no clouds in the sky. And that means today is a blessed day. And you got to count your blessings because yesterday was a rainy day and it really just kept me inside all day. And I was cold and fell asleep and got up early and then took a nap. And then now I'm here. I think that I'm here, you know? I think that I'm alive, you know? I think that my life is alive. And then I think about all my losses like a boss's. And turns out, man, I'm in a lose-lose situation, and I don't know anybody that's willing to admit that or get into it in life, you know, to calculate their win-loss ratios. You know, it's something that we do in football. Shout out to Saints Addiction if you want a Ganja Ganesh shirt. That's Ganja. That's the Ganesha balancing out his religious beliefs. See the cross and the blunt. Yeah, Saints Addiction. That's what's up. $20. Let's go. So, going into the show this morning, I was just thinking, man, my ex just really created a lose-lose situation because she thought that she got me by killing our baby, and I'm sitting here going like, no, we both lose. I was posting it this morning because the guy said, you know, they got the one guy saying, you know, the red pill is that you need more money and more girls and more power. It's kind of like the money, power, respect. Or the first you get the woman, then you get the power. No, first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the woman. Kind of like a Scarface mentality. And then it turns out that this is an eventuality that we are all chasing this thing of like superiority when both parties are losing eventually. And that's what really ends up happening. It's like, sure, you can go get divorced or whatever and shit happens, but the children are the ones that end up losing. And the family unit ends up losing, and then our society ends up losing. So it's not just a bunch of guys going to prison, losing time and losing their life, but it's also the family unit. The unit starts breaking down, and all these people are trying to be winners. I know for a fact I'm trying to be a winner, and then I just realized that's a double loss. You know what I mean? Like a super loss, like a boss. You're supposed to, you know, lose like a boss, but that sucks because everyone in this world is trying to do some come up. And then it end up happening is we end up losing. Both parties end up losing horribly. And that's why I said a lose-lose situation, because eventually everybody's have to come to a head. It comes to me at night when I'm like sitting there wishing I had someone in the bed with me or someone to make love to. And then I realize I'm almost like a woman where it's like I just don't want to have sex with just anybody. I want to have some sex with somebody that's special to me, I feel comfortable with. I sound like a woman right now, someone that makes me feel safe and you know, that kind of thing. And that's the world that I think we all live in. Is like, sure, we all want to be porn stars and just fuck anybody that we want to fuck, but odds are is you're not even in that situation to fuck like you want to fuck. You're not in a situation where there's anybody at all that wants to fuck. And then guess what? Nobody's fucking. There it is, dude. There's a lose-lose situation. She gets divorced. Now she's a divorcee. Minus points. I kept telling her, you got to fucking deal with me. You know, you got to make me feel safe to be with you as well as me making you feel safe. It's one of those things where you're like, well, fuck you. You're not going to have children. I'm going to kill your baby. I'm going to kill your lineage. And then I'm like, yeah, now that makes you a killer. So each thing that perpetrated from this unwanted abortion becomes a lose-lose situation because I know she still loves me and I still love her, but now we can't love each other. And if she goes on to find another lover, I'm not sure she's ever going to express that she kills babies or that she had a baby ripped out of her or that she's had abortions or that she's had divorces. Who knows if she tells the truth? But I know when I go into my future relationships, I got to be the guy that says the truth and say, you know, hey, my last relationship was an absolute disaster. Not only one, am I the type of guy that can scare you into an abortion, but I'm also the type of guy that might cheat on you while you're having the baby. And C, I have to also explain to you that I have a tendency to run and become feral and just fucking be my free self at any moment. Just travel the world and dip out on you. I have to tell that truth to my next partner. I don't know if my ex partner is going to tell the truth to their partner. She had me sold on this whole belief that me and her were twin flames and that we belong together, and that she had a dream that she was supposed to leave her husband and find someone else. And I started to buy into it. And it's like, yes, us as guys, we can buy girls' lines too. We can have Charm City come up to us and tell us what we want to believe or what we think we want to hear. And isn't that what we eat, right? A hungry heart eats when it's hungry. You know what I mean? And it'll eat anything as long as we think someone loves us or we feel some sort of way like that's that person. I was listening to the day in the all access Vegas show where they asked the girl, does it matter how many guys the guy's been with? And they were saying, no, it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to them as long as they have clean dick and they're not giving them any diseases. They don't care if the dude's been with 500 girls, before them. All that matters is that they're with them. And then that doesn't even matter to them, that the odds of them being cheated on are even higher because this person's sexual proclivity or their history. And the guy was like, well, it is Vegas. And I'm like, I'm from Vegas. I guess I should be a serial cheater too, right? Hold tight. And that's the conversation we got to have, is getting into these lose-lose situations where we feel completely right, like we feel validated in what's happening to us and in our lives. But at the same time, when all the dust settles and all bullshit aside and everybody's done trying to get the money or trying to get some kind of position on each other, what's a win? And that's this conversation that I had to have this morning. It's like, what's a win? And what the guy wrote was like, win is when you're being of service, when you're being selfish, not selfish, but selflessness. Selflessness. Did I say that right? Selflessness. I might not be living right because I can't even say the word right. But service, selfishness, and I forget the other word. I don't know. I posted it here on the thumbnail, but not for nothing. There are going to people that are going to be able to like say they're chasing God or a man of God or a father. These kind of, we want that man to go to war. We want that man to respect women. We want that man to raise children, and we need them to do all the above and put a smile on it at the same time. And then we go and flip it to the women, and we're like, well, I need you to cook the meals for the army, and I need you to keep the army together. I need you to be the eyes and ears of this army. Maybe not the eyes and ears, but at least the left hand, and participate in raising an army. And an army crawls on its stomach. If you don't believe me, ask Napoleon. But that's one of those things that we all participated in. We all participate in a war, but not all of us have the same position in the war. And this comes from a girl. She was drunk here at the house, and she was like, oh, I'll fight on the front line. Now, mind you, here in Finland, conscription is mandatory for the boys. I think you got to be 18, somewhere between 18 and 19. You can choose your time, but eventually you have to give up some of your time, selfishness, and go to service and provide for your country. You need to put in a couple years, and I think they do it in. I know they do it in Israel too, and I think the women do. The dudes, maybe they all do 4 years. I just remember them being very beautiful, very fit, and coming in from into Thailand from Israel after they finished their military stint. So it's part of it. I mean. The same girl that was like, oh yeah, I'll go in the front line. I'll fight for my country. No problem. Didn't seem to even remember that she wanted to be my teacher and give me a word a day. And she's like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought it was. She couldn't even keep a commitment of a word a day. And she don't even remember half the words she was saying. She was just in some drunken spout like, women can do it too. And I'm like, no, they can't. No, they can't. There it is. That was in my mouth. No, and I told her why. And it wasn't that she didn't have the ability. It's that we didn't have the ability. We don't have the ability to watch women that we love or women in general be destroyed by shrapnel or their heads blown off or something to that effect. It's hard enough for us to watch our fellow man and our brother and our brothers in arms, let alone a whole woman being shattered. And it's like our instincts, and I don't think she really realized that, was to protect what was behind us, right? So as long as we'll lead with our lives and put our lives on the line and put our chest out there and stick your chest out and put a shield out and take arms and artillery and arrows and take all the brunt force, because we're built out of brunt force. We're built to be that kind of, it's almost like your fingernails. It's like they got no feelings because it's built for clawing. You're okay with it being clawable, but not your eyelids where they're soft and sensitive. You know what I mean? You want to protect these, wear a helmet, protect this, but you don't mind the fist. You know what I mean? Because these are built for that, and women are built for procreating, right? We want them to be soft and smooth and protected and free, and therefore that they can keep having babies, because then we have a bigger civilization, than the next guy has more civilization, then we have a bigger army than they have army, and it just goes in hand. And then here we go. Some of our biggest civilizations like China, America. I have a whole list of them that I put out there, all the declining birth rates, except for like Nigeria. Everyone else is dipping on their kids. Everyone else is a lose-lose situation. Not only did my son lose his life, but now we both lost love. We both lost trust. And we both get into the future where I'm into the future where I'm going to say me first. I don't know what's going on with her, but, I get to be lonely. I don't have someone that I love as much. I miss out on that time. Both of us were so stubborn that every time that we could have worked it out and be together, we were in the same fucking city, but instead she'd be down the street in the Paris hotel, being angry. And I thought she left and went right straight home to California. Instead, for the next 2 days where we could have been making love or talking or communicating, she was doubling down on stubbornness and just not talking to me at all, and was right down the street from me. There's some missed opportunities there. She wants to talk about, I would never deny my I don't think she said my ex, or the father of my children, to see their children, but you definitely denied the father of that other baby access to that baby. And it started to get at me, and I was just thinking, like, how many times we couldn't get on the same page. I look down at my own penis and I see a circumcised penis. I'm arguing with her, saying she never want our sons to be circumcised. Now I got a buddy that goes on a whole circumcised rant, how it's not good for children, and on and on and on and on. But I still go back to the fact that I'm circumcised, and that's what I would want for my kid. Maybe because I'm Catholic, maybe because I'm circumcised, but I just wanted him to have a nice penis, and boom, didn't think nothing of it. It was a huge contention for this person. This person wasn't just wanting to not have the circumcision, but she wanted to say our kid would have red hair. And it was just like everything that I wanted to do, she wanted to do opposite. And instead of working together to make it go forward, now we have people just sitting on the sidelines, not doing any action, and nothing's getting done. And both parties are losing. So it's almost like a siege, if you will, right? If you were in the Roman times, everybody keeps talking about the TikTok phenomenon. What's the last time you talked about or thought about the Romans? I think about the Romans almost on a daily basis because I watch old battles. I learned from the generals, who was what, Vespasian versus Caligula, to Cassius, to Mark Antony, to Pompey, to you name it. These guys have always been Constantine, Augustus, all these guys have always been kind of in the lead of my history and in my mentality as I grew up, because there's just like, they were in some of the biggest battles. They're always somehow part of theory or what's the philosophy. They're just interwoven into history. And anybody that watches history, of course, the Romans get brought up, and then you get to have these conversations of what you would do with ultimate power. If you were Caligula, would you throw people off the fucking cliff at 700 feet drop and just end their lives to just show people that you had ultimate power? Would you be like Cleopatra and get sneaky into a rug and be, rolled out in front of Caesar so that way you could keep your power? There's a lot of things in history where it's like, to win, to get somebody that wants to win as bad as you, that they're willing to sacrifice themselves, or sacrifice their lives, or sacrifice their finances, or sacrifice the future the other persons are sacrificing their future, because then everybody just sits on the sidelines and is loveless, you know, unconnected, and fiercely dying on that hill, like I talked about yesterday. Don't die on that hill. We climb these hills and we're like, I'm going to die on this hill, because we get married to our belief systems, and instead of using someone else's belief system, like, okay, I'm going to have he's circumcised, therefore it's his son, he should be able to circumcise his own son. We on a whole nother level. We're like, well, no, I'm the mama. I'm gonna say what I want, and he's gonna come out with red hair, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on right now? I couldn't imagine that. My first child, I wouldn't have any say, and imagine how much less say I get with all her kids. Her kids, if I say, hey man, put that dishes away, then all of a sudden I'm the asshole talking to them in a certain way, and then it's like, kids still have to do dishes, but yeah, we just don't want you to tell them how to do the dishes, and it's a lose-lose situation. The kids lose discipline. They don't have any father figures in their life. Even if you're splitting it 50-50, 100% family is way better than a 50% family. We can all agree. And even a blended family has its own hiccups and challenges. And this is one of those things where it's just like, I couldn't see myself doing the baby daddy drama. Not only did I just pull up to the house, this millions of people in San Francisco, and I pull up the same time the ex-husband's walking past, and he's mean mugging me, and I'm thinking it's a gangster. I'm thinking like, we're gonna have somebody with a gun. I didn't know who it was, because I never seen the man before, and he never seen me before, but he definitely seen his ex-wife before, and she was in the passenger seat, and I was driving her car, and he's like, who's this new motherfucker right now? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh great, now I got baby mama drama. It's happened to me before when I was at someone's house and some dude pulled up all weird, and I'll never forget. And I left that chick because it ended up happening. But he was like, she's like, you're a whore. And he came out of the car. He was like yelling at this chick that I was with. And he's like, you're a whore. And you just slept with me, and now you're with somebody else, and talking to me. And I'm like, I just some random dude that just be by the house. And she was just trying to hide her embarrassment and dissuade him and trying to calm him down. And then he peeled off in his truck, and it was just like, wow. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to see the X treatment. Nobody wants to know who was the last guy you fucked, and definitely not for them to keep rolling up. You're supposed to be free, and nobody's coming knocking on your door. But apparently, we all kind of bring our past with us, and that's why I had to have this conversation, because people are losing because they're past. Yes, everybody has a past, and you can judge people or judge not, but what I really wanted to see is if it was a winning solution. It's not that it's more of a judgment, who's right, who's wrong. It's like, did both parties win? You know what I mean? Like, does both parties get what they want out of the ending? And then we talked about this in family court, or people's court, when they got out, and the judge kind of broke the mediation between two arguments, and the guy comes out and goes, man, that judge wasn't listening to me. Or the girl comes out and go, I don't want to pay this fine. Or, I don't know if you ever seen people's court, but the honest response after a ruling, from a rule, somebody's ruling over you, instead of what you got to decide on your own, out of your own free will, someone's deciding for you, and now you're like, oh, pissed, man, fuck the judge. And it's easy to say fuck the judge, but it's like, does anybody win in these scenarios? Did the person win their money back? Was a wrong righted? You know what I mean? Is there justice? And that's what it comes down to. And I don't think anybody wins in my scenario. I woke up this morning thinking about it. I said, yeah, I still get to be free and travel this world, but I don't have anyone that I love. I don't have any children. She's right. I'm a 43-year-old bachelor, but I'm like, and you're now almost twice divorced, and single mom, 2 kids in her late 30s. That's what happened that quick. That's what happens that quick. I'm doing the math and I'm looking at it and I'm going like, okay, the guy's going, the time has to come from somewhere. He calls it life hacks, psych hacks. And I watch him because not only do I have a psych degree, but he makes a lot of sense. And like, the time has to come from somewhere. If you wanted to have 2 children, then you got to have the space, those 2 years to raise each child. Then you probably wanted to meet the person for a year ahead of time, and you wanted to be courted another year ahead of time. So you got a year of engagement, a year of courting, and it takes 2 years to have the baby. So that's a 4 or 5. It's almost a 5-6 year plan. That means if you're 36, you got to start at 30. The time has to come from somewhere. And it was just like, wow. I started looking at my timetable, and I'm like, shit, dude, I've been fucking around, fucking all these hoes, and then I got nothing to show for it. on one level, I would like to say that was a win, but on another level, I know I'm losing. I'm losing time because now I know that I'm not just trying to go back to my 20s and 30s and just fuck anything and think that's going to make me feel happier inside. That doesn't make me feel happier inside. You know what I mean? I want to be with someone that I love, and that's what brings me my ultimate happiness. That's why I waited a year and a half of celibacy. Broke it up. One chick was like, okay, let me try it with this chick. And I'm like, no, we don't need it. We need a plan B. And then go to this next chick. And I'm like, yes, this is the one I want to have it with. And she pulls the plug on our child, say no. And then it's like, okay, cool. So you got away from me, my abusiveness, my narcissism, and what did you call it? What else? My temper. Okay, cool. But now I'm away from you, and now nobody else is calling me names, and no one else is killing my babies, and no one else is bringing me their drama, and came to me happy. I'm bringing this up because I watched the episode with Will Smith, and the Will Smith episode was in Jada find happiness. He's like, he's rolled out the red carpet. He's flown around the world. And even still, when everybody else was doing the peace sign, she was doing the fuck you. She was anti-team. She was on the team, but she was anti-team, and she wasn't helping the team. And they were making this argument with Will Smith where he can do everything for a woman and she still not be happy. And I was like, dude, I've been there. I think any good man has ever tried to put their coat out over the mud or the hole or the water so that her shoes don't get bad. The other guy's like, this coat $6,000, bitch. You better let them shoes get dirty. And it was just like that. But it was one of those things where it's like, a lot of people, they're not practicing selfishness. They're not practicing service. They're not practicing anything. It's just like, get the bag. As long as you get the bag, then you got the money, then you got the power, then you got the woman. And we want it in that order, as if we're some kind of hip hop video. No terms did anybody say, I'm going to sacrifice my world travels, or I'm going to sacrifice my finances, or I'm going to sacrifice my actual life and how I spend my time sitting at some kid's recital that's not mine, and then go like, okay, I'm here and I'm not in Mallorca sitting there fucking spinning plates. Instead, I'm watching this kid spin plates. He's not even my kid. And then at the same time, you didn't even give me a kid. It's a lose-lose scenario. And I went into my head and I'm just like, that's why it's a lose-lose situation. It's like, we put ourselves in these loser situations. We get a chance at winning. We throw the chance away. It's almost like a football game, if you will. You got that one chance where you're like, okay, the score's kind of within one score or one field goal. We have a chance to tie. Most people just want to blow out. And that's what we end up we're all blown out. We're all getting older, running out of eggs monthly, running out of connectivity. We don't have anybody that we can lean on or count on, so we become even more pessimistic, which is another loss. You know what I mean? When you don't believe and hope, you're definitely not believing in your humanity. That's what makes us quintessentially human, is the ability to hope and to see things with a brighter side. And if you become the type of person where it's just repetitive, rinse and repeat, it's the Groundhog's Day of your life. And that's what I'm starting to feel here in Finland. It's just like, man, I haven't left the house. All I do is just take showers, do morning motivations, take naps, and try to eat. This becomes a rinse and repeat, smoke, and that's my life. This is it. This is all that I got. And I sit here and I go, man, how do I make it a win? What would make this more of a win? Well, obviously traveling with funds would make it more of a win, and I could say that. But even if I do that, it still doesn't make someone love me, not the way that I really want to be loved. And it doesn't help me keeping to my stubborn. I don't know how many people would admit that, but that their stubbornness had created divide in them and other people. And then you're married to this philosophy or belief or whatever you bite your teeth into. You're gonna double down on stupidity, and then somebody ends up losing anyway. So it's just, I'm trying not to get people in lose-lose situations. I'm trying not to be in lose-lose situations. I don't want to be the guy that just sits around. I want to be the guy that goes around and does something about it. And if anything, I'll go get my mental health from the gym. I'll go get the natural healing from the forest, and get my mind right, so that way I can be a better human being next time that love comes around and there's an opportunity. I don't want to be the guy that squanders it and pushes it to a lose-lose situation where I need to be first place. I got the money, so that means you must obey me, or the other half around there where it's like I'm pregnant, and you got to change your ways. And I was like, for me, it felt a lot like an ultimatum. And I'm not really good with ultimatums. I'm not good to negotiate. I'm not going to negotiate with terrorists. And it's like, if you're gonna terrorize me with the life of my baby, and they're like, well, at any moment I can do what I want to do, and it was just like, yeah, no. No, that's not what's going to happen. You're not going to play games with me. If you want to play games with your own children, by all means do that. You know what I mean? If you want to be in your own custody battle and how that's going to work and whatever. But when he came to me, I this was fresh. This wasn't something I wanted to negotiate with. It's like, nah, dude, we're gonna have circumcisions. Kids' hair is gonna be dark black, just like mine and yours. And I'm gonna name them Francis Mark Saint Arnaud the Seventh, and this is the way it's going to be. And if you are asking of me to stop traveling, you want part of my finances, you want part of this time span, and you want me to be the leading, loving example of what of a relationship's supposed to be, even though that was your job from your previous husband. Now you want me to show the abilities and the wherewithal when you haven't showed me anything at all. And it was just like, this is a hard sell. This is why our society is losing the masculine men. I remember one kid, he was just pulled over for the Taco Bell, and they shot him. And he was like, "Do you see this? Recognize this logo?" He's questioning the cops, like, "Yeah, that's Taco Bell." And turn right behind you. What's that? That's Taco Bell. And he's like, "Okay, so let me see your ID." He's like, "I'm not giving you my ID." You know what I mean? I'm a free man eating free, or not free. I'm not so free man in a not so free country eating not so free tacos, trying to just mind my own fucking business. And then you come up here trying to regulate on me, and I ain't trying to have it. And that's what it really comes down to is people ain't trying to have it. They're not trying to do anything more than for themselves. And then it's like, communicating with the cops kind of de-escalated that situation, I'm sure, but I don't know what he went through that day. He seemed pretty frustrated on the tape and the body cams. And I watched it, and I'm just like, wow, to escalate it to him being a gun drawn on him and him losing his life because he was eating tacos is ridiculous. Or how about the one, I think it was a black woman that was pregnant in Phoenix or something, she got shot while she was pregnant? It's ridiculous. And then you gotta ask yourself, is it right to keep enforcing, I don't know, arbitrary speed limit? Is it right to ask people for their IDs and try to punk them and control them even though they're just eating tacos? Why is it always got to be ratcheted up? They haven't committed any crime, but then you go looking for a crime, you go asking for their ID so that way you can find something, and it go, okay, put your arms behind your back, you have a warrant out for your arrest. That's not what you came up for. That's not why you originally pulled the person over. But the cops start digging, and then they turn themselves into enemies. And I keep telling people that's how you get rid of the police, is you actually make them do service, or I mean protect, instead of just serve. You know what I mean? It's one thing to just keep getting people tickets for money. We know it's just for money, but it's not something else when you're actually changing behavior, or you're in the favor of human beings. And then they think, oh man, there are some good cops in the world. Oh honey, I almost got pulled over today, but this cop was really nice to me and he didn't give me a ticket, is rare air, versus man, this motherfucking cop pulled me over and he said I was 10 miles over the speed limit. Now I have a $500 fine. You're going to get people to bitch at you, and you're not going to look in the right light. People aren't going to be like, yay, more police. You're going to get defunded, and defunding the police is part of that program because they don't feel like you're actually policing. They don't actually feel protected. So therefore, you're just doing serve, and you're not providing a service that we want. So lose-lose situations. I'm sitting here with it this morning and trying to create win-win situations, like they say in marketing scams, win-win. And you're like, yeah, and all these other things. I feel like people are just being stubborn and stupid and losing. We're losing time. We're losing eggs. We're losing love, and it's happening at a rapid rate. And I just started to have to talk about it this morning. I was like, not for nothing, but we're all losing somehow, some way with these new scenarios. And you might win a bunch of money, but you're also losing time. And then it's like you might you might be young, but you might not have any knowledge. And then it's also, you might have told her, but she's also losing you. And then that's something that both people end up losing in that scenario. And that's all I was thinking. It's just like, of course you want to find win-win scenarios. Who doesn't want to have something go their way and feel like a winner? But at the same time, you got to take a loss like a boss. And then I just think many people are losing it right now. They don't have enough money to do the things that they want to do. So they become even more lonelier. And then the more lonelier they are, the most disconnected that they get. And by the time it's time to win, They don't know when's the end. They just don't know. And that's the unfortunate part. So I don't want people to lose. I want them to smile. I want them to exercise, and I want them to find and explore in this life. And that's my morning motivation. If you got anything out of this, go to Saints Addiction, go like it, go buy a shirt, get yourself in the game. You know what I'm saying? Get with it. Balance your spirituality with your smoking, and then you got Saints Addiction. That's me on my show, on my heart from the start. I was hacked. It's fixed. My homework said I fixed it. Okay, cool. So peace and love. I'll see you on the other side. And as always, Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever in Finnish. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. Peace.